how can I do nothing and have everything? And a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to become very, very angry, right? They're going to become very angry because they're like, oh no, you must work hard. And I've been taught to work hard and I should always fight. But my philosophy is, what's the least I can do to have what I want? Ever since I started to get into this manifestation journey, what I've realized is there's always three paradigms of manifestation. The lowest paradigm is on having. When people start to play the victim, they're like, oh, I don't have this because I wasn't born wealthy. I don't have someone who's going to give me a handout. And all these people, they're either genetically blessed with a great body and, money or whatever it is. They just have a green thumb, or they have someone that's giving it to them. And that's the having paradigm, where you just focus on having, and you are at the mercy of external circumstances. A level above that I learned was the doing paradigm, when people gain enough energy to take the reins of their own lives and say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get what I want. And even that becomes limited because yes, you can take massive action, but you'll always find that it's always a battle, a fight against the world. And you're kind of always slapping your hands about on the water and creating a lot of inefficiencies and a lot of waste. And as I studied engineering, I realized that waste was the enemy. You want to make systems as efficient as possible. To get from path A to path B, you don't want to zigzag around and waste energy. You want to move the easiest path towards it. And everything in my life started to be tailored around how can I eliminate waste, and even how I work out. I was just speaking to a friend about this, but my coach, when I started working out with him 3 years ago, like he works out in a very unorthodox way, and he's like 67 and he's been doing this for the last 40 years. And he's like, yeah, I did all my research and I've been training like all these celebrities and I've been training them for decades. They've been with me. And every time they come to me, they're like, oh, I'm surprised how you don't make me do hours and hours of cardio and then strength training and do all of this. But instead, I just do high intensity 20-minute workouts and I look pretty great. That's a very unorthodox way of training, but it's also very, very efficient. So when you get from the doing paradigm to the highest paradigm of all, which is the being paradigm, where you stop focusing on taking unnecessary action, right? And you just focus on, okay, if I wanted to live a life like this, let's first ask who I would be. How would I be if I were to live a life like this? Who would I have to be worthy of a life like this? Because what most people do is they ask, what do I need to do to get this? Okay, I want to have a mansion and the car and the wife or the husband and the child. What can I do to get that? What magic pill can I take to have that? That's more having and doing focused. But when we started to switch this, when I started to switch the question that I asked myself to, who must I become internally so that my external world reflects that truth? And I started to focus on embodying that version of myself. And I said no to unnecessary doing. Because when we think about doing, we've been conditioned to believe, oh no, you must work hard. Don't sit and be peaceful and be quiet. You must always be busy and try to do something. Our toxic hustle culture has conditioned us to be that way. Right? Because we start to feel guilty. Have you ever noticed when you sit down and do nothing, you're just quiet, you're peaceful, you just are, you're just being. You start to feel guilty for just being because a part of your mind comes and says, you're not doing anything, you're not going to make progress unless you're doing something. That's that conditioning that we've been brought up with. Our true self is trying to show up when we are just being, when we are just at ease and at peace with ourselves. So when I ask myself, if I wanted the money, the relationship, the happiness, who would I be? Which version of myself would I channel? And if I were this version of myself, truly speaking, would I engage in this unnecessary action that I think I need to take? Okay, do I need to always be doing something, or can I just sit down and relax? And most of the time, when I've connected with that intuition and that beingness, the next steps have always been revealed to me. It's always come from an inspired place. So imagine this. Imagine scenario A, where you're just constantly doing, and you're fighting, trying to get money, trying to level up in your career, trying to level up in your business and get to the next level, and you just keep fighting against an invisible force. Scenario B, you just be at peace and you ask yourself, if I wanted to make $1 million a year, who would I be? And you sit with that feeling, you sit with that assumption. And one day, as you're going about your daily life, you have an idea to, oh, I feel intuitively called to start this YouTube channel or to create this website. And you take action on that. The doing comes from a place of being. For most people, the doing comes from a place of lack of being, of scarcity. Oh no, I don't have this. I don't have the money. So I'm going to go and take action to get the money. I am not good enough. I must do something to become enough. Do you see the difference? Whereas in scenario B, it's I am enough. What comes from this place of being enough? So my focus over the last 4 to 5 years has been on being. But recently, I've started to notice that the conditioning for me runs even deeper, where I feel like a lazy piece of shit if I'm not doing something all the time. And so I become mindful of that dialogue that's coming up. And I allow myself to ease up and relax more. So my new philosophy has been, how can I do nothing and have everything? And a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to become very, very angry, right? They're going to become very angry because they're like, oh no, you must work hard. And I've been taught to work hard and I should always fight. But my philosophy is, what's the least I can do to have what I want? That, I believe, is the most efficient way to go about it. And I think that is also the most effective way to go about it, rather than wasting your time slapping your hands about on the water. Now, one caveat to this, though, is I'm always aware of black or white thinking, because sometimes it will be required of me to slap my hands about on the water and take massive action. And when that time comes, I'm connected with intuition to be able to commit to that and say, you know what? Now is the time to actually go to war and slap my hands about on the water and take massive action. Because when I take this massive action, something will emerge from this action that will be my next steps. But I'm always very, very aware of the place that it comes from, the intention, the source this action originates from, rather than trying to force it from a place of lack. And the one thing you got to always be aware of is the feeling of being rushed. Are you in a rush to get somewhere? What's the rush? What if you took a step back and created space between you right now and the thing that you're moving towards? What if you acted just simply based on what's necessary from you in this moment, instead of trying to manufacture some intention, instead of trying to manufacture some, oh, I need to get here by the age of 30. Oh no, my time is running out to have kids. I need to have kids right now. I need to get married right now. And then that's when real scarcity comes into play. So one thing you got to be mindful of is rushed. The feeling of being rushed. What's the rush? The right things for you are going to happen at the right time if you simply ease into life and you trust the natural flow of life. And even within that trusting, there will be some times where you have to set up your sails correctly so that you're moving in the right way. You have to intervene at some points, but it takes discernment. You have to be able to trust your own intuition and judgment to know the difference of when I should let go and when I should really come in and interfere. That's the philosophy that I've been living with for the last 5 years, but the one thing that I've realized over the last 3 months is committing more and more to that philosophy. If you've been brought up in an environment where you have been petty and you've been engaging in more of a lower vibration way of living, I hate to put as higher and lower vibration like I'm on some spiritual high horse, but the reality is we've all been raised with some conditioning that doesn't serve the life that we want to live. But the very reason you're probably watching this video right now is because you have an intention to level up, which, by the way, 99% of people, they haven't even woken up to this truth. In order to fully capitalize on that, you've already gotten the first step, which is awareness. You have awareness on your situation, what's serving you and what isn't. And awareness is, I believe, 80% of the problem just solved, because within this light of awareness. So when we have problems and we're not aware of them, they always fester under the surface and cause more problems in our lives and more undesired situations because we live unconsciously. And as Carl Jung said, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will run our lives and we will just call it fate. But when you wake up to it and you shine the light of awareness to it, then it no longer becomes fate. It becomes something you can consciously choose, a direction that, the direction in which it evolves. So with awareness being the first step, the second step to making a change is intention. If you've been living a particular way where you've been conditioned by your environment to, gossip, talk shit about other people, which is also gossip, thinking negatively about yourself and just always believing that I must work hard, I'm not good enough, and just saying this dialogue to yourself. Making the intention to, hey, this has to change. From this moment forward, I accept and I'm aware that this is my current situation, But moving forward in the next moment, this has to change. This can no longer be. And once you make the intention, you will start to notice different ways in which life gives you opportunities to move towards the next, a shift in the lifeline. So if you think of life, there's a great science to this. It's the quantum phenomena, but people don't fully understand it yet. We're manifesting certain lifelines based on what the programs that we keep running, the stories we keep telling ourselves, consciously or unconsciously. It's the observer effect. Whatever we observe is what manifests and materializes into existence. So when you make the intention, you actually make a shift in lifelines. You go from this current lifeline where you've been the victim and you've always fought and battled against some invisible force, and you say, you know what, this has to change. This can no longer be. You make an intention and you commit to it, you're immediately shifting in lifelines. But then what happens is people flip-flop back. They go back to the old stories again, and then they make the intention again. So the key is to make a committed decision and keep reminding yourself of this committed decision. So this could be as simple as you wake up every single morning and just focus on your new intention. What is my intention for the day? How do I want to be today? Not what do I want to do today? What do I want to have today? How would I like to be today? Your new metric for success isn't what you have or what you do. Is it, am I being aligned to who I genuinely truly want to be? Who I was meant to be? My highest version of myself. That's your new metric for success. You make the intention beginning of the day, and a hack to really change this situation, the situation that you're in, it's very simple. You just have to look at what brought you into this conditioning in the first place. It was your environment. It was the people around you, the kind of people that you surrounded yourself with. Well, what if I started surrounding myself with different people? So an example I gave to one of my clients recently, she was asking me, hey, it's really difficult to believe that I can start my own online business and, be successful with it, because all around me, I see people in 9-to-5 jobs and they're complaining about long work hours and not making enough money. And they don't believe that you can start a coaching business. And then I had to revisit my story of, hey, I was in this exact same situation before I started a multi-million-dollar online business. But when I started, it was very hard to believe people would pay me for my services, especially life coaching, right? Like people wouldn't pay for mindset manifestation coaching. But when I started to hang out with people who were also doing something similar, they had online coaching businesses. They were making multi-5 figures, 6 figures a month. And I was like, holy crap, this is possible. If they can do it, why can't I? We're made of the same bones, flesh, and blood. What's so different? I've spoken to this person. They're not that much smarter than me. Maybe they know something that I don't. But why not me? Why not you? When you start surrounding yourself with people who are just like you, who have been through the exact same things that you have, but they're doing what you want to do, and you keep surrounding yourself in that vibration, in that energy, and you open yourself up to it, it's going to pull you in. And for me, that's exactly what happened. And I started to really believe that, oh, this is possible. I just have to not quit. You can't fail if you don't quit. The only way you fail is if you quit. And the only reason people quit is because they get sucked into those voices from the people around them who say they can't do it. I had in my life when I was starting my business, my dad telling me, oh, people don't pay for intangible goods. Like this esoteric stuff, this coaching that you're doing, people won't pay for that. Can you sell a product or a service? But that's just an old limited way of thinking, right? Because the online, bubble, this industry, this education industry, it didn't exist. So how could he know? He's been accustomed to an immigrant mindset of, oh, you just work hard, earn your place under the sun, get a stable paycheck, make sure you have health insurance. And that's the life he lived. But if you want to live exceptionally in an alignment with your heart's core desires, you have to give yourself permission first to experience that, then surround yourself with other people who are also experiencing that. You have to change your circle of influence. And so when you do that, that's the new vibration, the new lifeline that you consolidate. And as you consolidate it more and more, one day you wake up, you're like, oh crap, I made it. The business is working. If you'd like to learn how to be rather than do and have, the main way to do it is a method I like to call identity shifting. When you shift your identity and become who you are meant to be, you allow yourself to live the life. You manifest the life that you want to have. Because the being makes the doing happen. The actions naturally come from the right place of being. And when the actions come, the having happens. So in order to do that, you really have to learn how to shift into who you are meant to be. I made a comprehensive video showing you how to do this. It's on YouTube, completely free. You can just click right here to access that. And I'll see you in the next video right now. Thanks.